sir? How you doing?
All right. We will call the October Josephine regular schedule meeting at 6 p.m. Can I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Turney is absent. Doug Ewing.
Here.
Brad Alfinger.
Here.
Alex Esquivel.
Here.
Dr. Pam Sardo. Here. Gary Chapel.
Here.
All right. If you wouldn't mind, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Pam, do you mind doing the invocation for us, please?
Thank you. Please bow your heads with me today. Dear Father, we pray for peace in the United States and overseas and are thankful for those held captive who will return to their families. We pray for local, state, and national leaders to have wisdom and compassion. And we pray that we as a council and as a community are moved to do what is right for those that we serve. May we break down barriers that divide us and work together for the common good. We also ask for your protection over all of our first responders to keep them safe. We ask this in your name. Amen.
All right. I believe Chief Graham has an officer he wants to introduce for us.
If I can get Israel to come up here and Anna Marie. So, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff, and district, our latest new officer is Israel, our girl. Yeah. Just to give you a little bit of history about him, he graduated South Garland High School. After high school, he joined the United States Army and got an honorable discharge. And he recently has been employed with the Garland Police Department in South Jail. And we were very fortunate to have him. He was one of the highest in his academy class, from my understanding. So if I can get his wife, Anna Marie, and him, but don't poke him. They also have two small children, and but they're not here now. So that's good. Congratulations.
One more pick. Yeah, there we go. You got an idea. 1, 3s, 1, 2, and 3s. Thank you guys. All right. Oh, they're good. Dude.
Do we want to introduce? Chief?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, I'd like to introduce our new fire chief, Joe Florentino. If you would stand, I don't have a badge for you to pin on, but if we'll give him a warm welcome. We are most happy to have him.
Very much so. Yeah, not just new. He's our first. By the way. Good point, Brad. All right. And then I guess the proclamation is next. So you want me to do the proclamation? Okay. You can do it. Go ahead.
Yes, so October is Community Planning Month. We just want to recognize that planning is essential for every community in order to provide ongoing solutions for land use, transportation, and housing. Our own city planner, Miguel, is going to receive tonight's proclamation. And while he's only been here a few short months, we recognize that Miguel's dedicated to Josephine's planning, just specific to planning, has been a tremendous help and long overdue. So he's taken a great weight off my shoulders and provided a fresh perspective for a lot of things. So Miguel, if Mayor Pro Tem will hand that to you.
He's coming down.
We're a little crowded here. Do we have a, I don't have my phone. Brandon's one. Thank you, Brandon.
Oh, no, you guys already go great. This part's easy. 1, 3, 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Citizen comments. Do we have anyone listed?
We have Heather, is it Leesburg?
All right, please state your name and address for the record.
Heather Leesburg, 308 Chuckwagon Drive. Before I get started, I just wanted to commend our new police officer and our new fire chief. Welcome, guys. I appreciate everything that y'all do as a healthcare professional. It means everything. So that's why I am here today. As a healthcare professional, I request your consideration on the ESD. Texans deserve a well-thought-out strategy, not a proposed ESD that lacks clarity, structure, and accountability. Until a comprehensive plan is presented, the ESD proposal must be amended, so please vote no. We must demand better planning, transparent leadership, and efficient use of tax dollars and our elected officials. Anything less is a disservice to us. The taxpayers are being asked to fund a blank check for a system that will not deliver services for 2 years. City-level solutions are already in place and can be implemented at a lower cost with benefit to the local cities. The proposed ESD is the wrong option at the wrong time. Discussions I've had with emergency service professionals with 30 years of experience insist that major amendments and local leadership accountability are essential prior to voting. It would be more equitable to increase local taxes or annex ETJ land and charge a service protection fee per home, using those funds to hire personnel and purchase equipment for stations here in Josephine and other rural cities. The city of McKinney, Frisco, and Plano already have an overabundance in funding and staffing. These cities absorb more taxpayer dollars, and why aren't they being diverted to underfunded rural stations? County officials have no blueprint or fiscal plan before approving it. The problem is the lack of proactive infrastructure and resource allocation. Therefore, the county and city of Josephine must implement slow growth initiative and a temporary construction moratorium to ensure that infrastructure, roads, and emergency access are improved before continued development strains response times even further. These existing issues in the ESD claim to address already exist, but they can be managed through common sense local policy, better planning, and properly funded fire departments in the city, not through ESD. The citizens deserve proactive, not reactive leadership. The proposal exemplifies poor planning and a reactive governance. Wasteful expenditures such as $18,000 for fake turf behind the firehouse when lower cost alternative like $800 wood chips could save the city thousands and shows consistent pattern of misallocation of funds. The problem is not the absence of money, but irresponsible spending and lack of oversight. Until the elected officials demonstrate fiscal restraint and strategic planning, the public cannot trust another layer of bureaucracy. There's no operational plan presented, there's no board candidates, there's no governance structure, there's no leadership, there's no anyone to hold accountable. And services are not expected until 2027. So, which leaves the question, who's collecting the money and where is it gonna go? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? So is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, we'll move on. All right, the consent agenda. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple little points. On 3.1 regarding the prior minutes, there was a question about the voting error of carrying 6-0 for a couple of items in September. And to make sure it's legal, regulatory, and accuracy related, I would like to have that corrected. that it not say 6-0, but 5-0 in a couple of places in the September minutes. And then I also have a quick question on 3.2 on the quarterly investment report, where we had over $2 million withdrawn from the Logic account in fourth quarter, 500,000, and then almost 483, 523, and over $1 million. And so is there any kind of indication of where those withdrawals were spent, the $2 million for fourth quarter ending 9/30?
Those funds were spent out of the operating account for pay apps for the public safety building and the wastewater treatment plant.
$2 million for pay apps and wastewater treatment.
For pay apps for the construction of the public safety building and for the construction of the sewer plant.
Thank you very much. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. All right. Motion carries 5-0. All right. New business. Receive an update from Project Manager Ethel Hudgens representing AGCM regarding the Public Safety Building project. Hopefully not too many left, right?
No. Can we pull it up on the screen? Yes, I can. Thank you. Okay, so the health indicator, we're on a excellent mark on the budget. We have completed the building without many change orders. We just had 3 change orders, and one of them was the annex building, so that put us in an excellent position. The schedule is still tracking for November the 19th, as we spoke before. The quality of work, the quality is good. The summary of work during that period, you will see in there what's accomplished for the public safety. This was made 2 weeks ago, and the progress right now, I walked the building today, it's impressive. Like all the floors inside, the painting, that's according to the pay application that the contractor has sent us. And then turn around and we'll see the next period. Turn on the bottom. Okay. We have a new form. It'll be here next week. Thanks. If we can scroll down a little. I think it's on. This one's red. Yes. Thank you. So for the next period, we have there. Thanks. The concrete pours are completed. The accessories, they were still working on some of them. The doors installed, they are installed. We're missing the glass on the doors and the reading, like the card access reading. The equipment, we are still coordinating some equipment. We're gonna have some safes installed this week, some radio and a tower and some equipment, so we're working through that. The AC units are up and running. The landscape is completed now, and we are working on some inspections for next week. The annex building that has been closed. And this is what was achieved, I'm sorry, this is the anticipated for the next period. The FF&E installation, the finishes completion, the LVT, the carpet, and the workout room flooring, which is completed, and the final painting. So again, according to the contractor and the progress on site, we are tracking for November 19th, and that is a breakdown on where we're standing on our budget. The change orders, the denied change orders, and the contingency. Right now, on this latest pay application, we got a draw on the contingency, and this was to accomplish some text dot requirements, and I'm working with a contractor to get clarity on that draw. So on the next report, I will give you the numbers and you know, a report on why and how was that spent. Yeah, that's the comments right there. There's no major concerns right now for observations, or then we have still our contract, the third-party contracts going, and you'll see some photos of how was the building a couple weeks ago and now how it's changed. The mason stone was installed. That is the back, working on the tracks fencing, which is a change order, the latest one. All the fencing around the building, on the back of the building, it's accomplished, it's done. My work, waiting for countertops. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Do you have a motion? I'll second. Motion carries 5-0. Receiver monthly, moving to 4.2, receive a monthly engineering report from Dunaway DBI, followed by discussion, consideration, action.
Yes, good evening, Council. Jacob Dupuy with Dunaway. So on the development front, both Morningside and Morgan Farms are still under construction. We're estimating the Morningside developments approximately 80% complete, and the Morgan Farms is about 60% complete. So they still probably have a little bit left to go on that before we start looking to get some final plats over here and final walkthroughs as well. On the design and construction status of various projects, both wastewater plants are rocking along very well. The Magnolia plant, we're estimating that one's about 35% complete. The North Wastewater plant still approximately about 15% complete. So that's kind of tracking with timelines that we're currently seeing for both of them. Let's see, the discharge permit. I know for the North Wastewater plant, which is a new discharge permit, my latest note on here said the latest correspondence was back in September. I actually finally got some response back from the TCQ today, and they said that they're checking with the attorneys, who in turn check with the executive director, because that's kind of where it's sitting right now to get us some final approval on it. And then the other kind of big moving item right now is the 12-inch Milton Street gravity sewer improvements. It's kind of slow going right now because of how deep they are and where they started. I expect once they hit kind of Byron Street, it'll probably pick up a little bit. It's just pretty deep right now, kind of by Main, where they were crossing by Caddo Street and whatnot. So, any questions on anything that I mentioned or any other items that I did not discuss.
I have a couple short questions.
Yes, ma'am.
The meter vault improvements, where are they going to go and what does it entail? Is it pressure changes, backflow prevention, concrete, sump pumps? What are you doing?
So this is your meter vault where you get water from North Texas. So this is going all the way over by approximately State Highway 78.
Okay.
And so with how you guys tie into the North Texas system, you actually have 2 meter vaults with them. One of them is actually almost right on top of their 24-inch pipeline, and that's the one we're looking to do some improvements on. It's going to increase the potential capacity that y'all can receive from them, and so it's just a new vault, bigger meter, all that good stuff.
Thank you.
And when is that happening?
That's happening right now. We're still in a submittal review process between our contractor and North Texas because these are all North Texas items that we have to get everything double approved by them. And so we're still kind of just now entering that tie-in potential period. North Texas, we have to turn off the 24-inch pipeline, which will impact Caddo Basin, which will impact Copeville. So we do all of that during the winter, and so we're just now entering that potential tie-in season. So,
Thank you.
Did you have another question?
It was just real quick about the storage, the 1.5 million gallon storage tank, but that's on the agenda for later. So I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the engineering report from Dunaway DBI.
Second.
Motion carries 5-0. We're going to move 4.3, receive the monthly engineering report from Kenley Horn and Associates.
Good evening, Council. I'm just going to go over a couple of our projects that are pretty hot right now. The Greenville Avenue reconstruction project. When we sent this in, we were still coordinating with the contractor to get the contract executed, so they've sent that back last week, and we have our pre-con meeting set for October 20th. So once that gets, once we've done that meeting, they'll start sending in submittals for all of the material that they need, and construction will get started. And then the Parks and Trails Master Plan, the draft report is scheduled to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission for later this week. And then if that is recommended for approval, it'll be at the next council meeting in November for approval. So the P&Z presentation, it is open for public comment. So if there's anybody in the city that wants to come make any comments, they're welcome to, and any revisions will be done prior to the council meeting presentation. The current reviews we have going on right now, we have the Sonic. We completed the second submittal of the construction plans earlier this month. And then the 610 East Cook Street, we just completed the 7th submittal of the construction plans at the end of September.
Is that last one with the Cook Street going, proceeding a little bit? Okay.
Comments that need to be addressed that are pretty major, but for the most part, it's all drainage and grading wise that we're still working through, but everything else has been mostly addressed.
Thank you.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to, is there any other discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the engineering report from Kimberly Horn and Associates.
Second.
Motion carries 5-0. We're going to move to 4.4. Receive an update from representing from P3 Works, Morgan Farms, and Morningside Subdivisions. How you doing?
Excuse me, I'm the regional director for North Texas. P3 Works with me is Bruce Guerrero. I'm Bruce Guerrero. I'm with Gulf Partners and Portland Law Firm. We've had the privilege of being bond attorneys in the city of Josephine for the last 12 years. So here also with us are representatives of the developer, being I can speak up.
Got it.
It's not that, it's the people, we have people on YouTube
I
that are
see,
watching,
I
so
see, gotcha.
they can't hear, even if you do speak up, they
Gotcha.
can't hear. So
Okay.
that's what it's about.
Which was Brightland Homes, which is changing they're merging to a new entity called DRB, but I'll let them introduce themselves.
Yes, my name is Kendall Hamrick. I'm the Director of Land Development with Brightland Homes, soon to be DRB Group. And we are the developer for the Morningside Phase 1 development.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm Michael Lance. I'm the Senior Land Development Manager at Meritage Homes, and I'm overseeing Morgan Farms.
Awesome, thanks.
And a little early on my end, my name is Stephen Darling. I represent the law firm FBFK. We are working with both Meritage and Brightland on basically the paperwork required to get any of the PID project through. But if we have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you.
And we're going to try to keep this as short as possible, but public improvement districts, the city entered into 2 development agreements for these 2 projects about 4 years ago, committing to create public improvement districts. I'll let Jordan, speak more in the details about it, but the public improvement district is not a special component of the city. It's just an area of the city where you're basically charging future residents for the infrastructure that will come. So streets, water lines, sewer lines, in years past, decades past, the developer would come in, build this stuff, and dedicate it over to the city. Nowadays, the developer comes, builds it, and you agree to basically buy it from the developer. Why? The main reason cities do PIDs now is because it's the only way, one of the only mechanisms you have to get property subdivisions annexed in, so that they're in city limits, so that these folks are paying property taxes for the services that you would otherwise probably provide anyway, right? Police protection, fire protection. The PIDs, the 2 PIDs have already been created. They're already in existence, but the haven't gotten going. The spending hasn't gotten going. We have to start. We typically issue PID bonds right about the time that developers are about to start spending a lot of money on these capital improvements. And basically, as they build and they dedicate to the city a trustee, the PID bond money is deposited with a trustee, and they submit the receipt showing they paid for this sewer line. It was inspected by the city public works director. It was dedicated, and now they get paid out of the bond proceeds for that piece of infrastructure. There's a lot of give and take in these development agreements. So these development agreements have a lot of quid pro quo, things that developers gave to the city and vice versa. And now we just need to, they've asked the developers, asked the city to proceed with the PID bond issuance process. There will be a lot involved with that, so you'll probably see us a lot more going forward. But we just wanted to give you all an overview, or lease access, give you all an overview, and give you the opportunity to ask any questions at this point.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Rudy. And to that your point, Lisa had mentioned a little bit of just kind of some background on PIDs generally. These 2 developments do have PIDs created, development agreements already in place. But just as you'll see, a lot of us at these meetings, a lot of email traffic are going through, a lot of discussions. We always want to make sure anytime a question comes, our teams are always happy to help, but we also want to make sure that you all have that information. So just broad overview here. PIDs generally are a statutory creature created under Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code. So if you want to go down to the next one.
Could you please forgive me? I'm getting a citizen notice that they can't hear. The light's off again. I apologize.
All right, thank you. Red is on. There we go.
All right, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sorry.
No, that's no problem at all. So yeah, so the only thing I've really said, the PIDs are created statutory under Chapter 372 of the Local Government Code. PIDs, as Rudy mentioned, not a separate political subdivision, not a MUD, not an MMD. They are specifically really only created by the city council's de facto board. It allows, as Rudy mentioned, the city to extend the public infrastructure to build more infrastructure without burning its existing tax base. These are assessments placed on property that will become owned by future homeowners. So it allows the city to continue to extend, to build those things without levying taxes across the whole area. The way we like to say it a lot of times is that it's allowing the localization of the cost of infrastructure. So the people who are benefiting from these roads, from these sidewalks, from the water, from the sewer, they are the people that are paying for it as opposed to the entirety of the city through kind of like city tax. So this is a very limited assessment on those people. As we talked about a little bit, this is a tool that can be used when negotiating. Here again, we're at that place where the PIDs have been created, but that's one of the reasons the PIDs really come in and incentivizing growth and incentivizing annexation and incentivizing amenities that you wouldn't otherwise have. So I know that was all, I believe, conversations kind of back when those development agreements were coming in. Again, growing the tax base, that's obviously a big piece of it, and then you're allowing to grow the way the city wants. So again, it allows you to work with the developer to say, these are the kind of things that we want to see. So you can go to the next slide. So yeah, how PID works, Rudy described it very well, not a specific district. It is really best thought of as a line on a map. There's a circle on a map that says in this area, specific things can happen. So assessments can be levied. There's levied specifically on the property that benefits from that PID. I know specifically one of the things we wanted to talk about is that an assessment is separate and apart from a tax. It is not a tax, but it is also separate and apart from a city tax. So the city is still levying and collecting tax on the property in a PID that's in its city limits. So that is not, incentivizing the growth, incentivizing that tax rate space is not negated by the use of the PID assessments. Assessments, a unique feature. Again, assessments are not taxes. They are assessments specifically for that property. They can be paid off in full. A lot of times they're paid in annual installments over a time period, but a homeowner who buys property in a PID subject to an assessment can pay that all at once, which is not something you can do with a property tax. It's an assessment that is a lien that runs with your land. So as somebody buys, sells home, that assessment is there until it is paid off. They can be used, as Rudy mentioned, to pay taxes and bonds or to fund a reimbursement agreement. Here, I believe the plan is to use those to secure taxes and bonds, but to the extent there's more PIDs coming up, that is an alternative. And then administrative expenses, so cost for running the PID, cost for collecting those annual installments, cost for the county, cost for anything kind of city staff related, our role as a PID administrator, that is all included as part of the annual installment. So the intent is that the PID is really self-sufficient, that it's paying for itself. We talked a little bit about, and again, here we already kind of have the PID set up, but there are three main PIDs, types of PIDs. You can have a pay-as-you-go where an assessment is levied and collected as the developer goes into the construction of those improvements. You can have reimbursement bonds where the developer puts in all the infrastructure and then bonds are sold at the end, or you can have upfront bonds where the bonds are sold to help fund that actual construction of the infrastructure. So again, we can go into more details. Wanted to just give kind of a high-level overview, so you can go to the next slide there. So we know that PIDs are a unique animal. Rudy and I have worked on opposite sides for a long time because I'm a recovering attorney. I was a bond counsel for the last 9 years. So Rudy and I have done a lot of these deals and now working together. The city is not alone. You have a bid team here. So you have city manager, city administrator, city secretary, you have your city attorneys, your engineers, financial advisor, bond counsel, us as administrators, and then when we go to sell the bonds, the underwriter and appraiser gets involved. So it is a big group that gets involved in this project. So you can go to that slide. So again, the PIDs have been created already, so really just a broad overview of some of the financial implications. PID debt is secured by assessments. It is not backed by the full faith and credit of the city. It is not backed by the taxes of the city. It is specifically backed by the assessments within the PID. The issuance of PID debt does not reduce your ability to sell bonds as a city. City can keep the ad valorem tax, can delete sales tax revenue that is collected in the area. The one note I will mention is it does count against bank qualified debt. Typically the development agreements, and I believe these do last time, I think when we looked at them, allows anytime a city sells bonds that prohibits it from selling bank qualified debt, which I believe that limit is at 10 million still.
It is, and so the city historically had issued less than 10 million a year, but the last few years we're going north of 10 million, and I would presume that's going to be a recurring theme. You know, that's limited for small rural cities to get an interest rate break, but you know, you would not have qualified this year, or I think in 22. So, but basically there's procedures in there where if they're costing you interest If they're costing you a higher interest rate, they have to pay you for the difference.
Yeah, so that is one consideration. Again, when we go to sell bonds, that's something that Rudy will be very specifically looking at too, and making sure Andre, with the financial advisor at Hilltop, will also be looking at that. As we said, also city's costs of creation that are related to the creating of the PID, I believe those were covered under PSA back in 2021, 2022 when those were created. Administration, that is typically done by a third party, which is our job as P3 Works. Those are also paid through the PID as part of the annual installments on those homeowners. So I think maybe one more slide. I think that's kind of here. We really wrapped it up just as a very, very quick PID 101. Lisa and I had worked together this is normally a lot longer presentation, but I didn't want to spend all of that time now at this stage because we really wanted to make sure that y'all had an opportunity to get your questions answered specifically about these projects. So I do have a couple more slides, I think, on just the project specifically. So these projects both started back 21-22 as the Waits Josephine project. Those were broken into 2 development agreements, the 1A and the 2. So that's how we now have the Morningside and the Morgan Farms. That previous developer, so who signed those development agreements and sold the property. So as you met earlier, I think in Morgan Farms, you have Meritage, Morningside's Brightland. And then in that development agreement, one thing we wanted to point out is that there were specific fees that the developer had agreed to pay as part of that development agreement. And so those are all listed there. A lot more numbers than I'll read off right here, but those include offsite water infrastructure fees, that's a per lot fee, an offsite sewer infrastructure fees, that's collected in both bids, and then also a capital recovery fee. So those were fees that were negotiated back at the time of the development agreement, that as we move into that, that's just something to keep in mind as well. So you can go to that slide. So Morgan Farms, 87 developed acres. I believe pursuant to the development agreement that those acreages have been annexed into the property. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe, yeah. So I believe those had already been annexed into the property because that was signed previously. 413 lots, but the 310 estimated build out price. And again, I'll defer to developers if there's any questions on that. And then a little timeline there of when this starts happening. Sounds like infrastructure is getting pretty close here to completion. And then they'll start the home sale on the phase 1. So that first line is phase 1, the second line is phase 2. And then the next page is a map here. So I think y'all are all familiar with it. It's not very far away. I took a wrong turn coming down Main Street, so I actually drove right by this and turned around in the elementary. So I got to see the work here. And the next one is the Morningside. So again, very similar, 55-acre tract. Those acres were also, I believe, annexed into the property. 215 lots. You got the home prices there, and our infrastructure starts kind of a little bit behind on the Morgan Farms, but still progressing and getting close to that infrastructure end date, which is the main reason we are in front of you while Rudy's here, because I think we're getting to that point where the financing of those improvements is really going to become the next big piece. So I think the last slide here, this is just the 2 of them combined. You see they do abut each other. I think that Morningside is really what right across the street from the elementary school. So yeah, I believe that's the last one. That's the last slide there. I had Robert Miklos, Stephen is here in his place, so he can answer your questions, developer can answer your questions, Rudy can answer all the questions.
I got a question. I got a couple questions. These were originally, I guess, made 4 years ago, so prior to me, correct? Have you had a chance to take a look at all this? Okay, and then second, so from my understanding, based off your presentation, I may have it wrong. So a new homeowner who decides to say, hey, I like this house, I want to get into it, are they going to be disclosing any information up front saying, hey, they're also going to pay an additional thing? Because there's other districts that are within our city, they get, hey, I didn't realize I also got to pay this other fee on top of other things, and you know, do they get the same rights and all that good stuff as everybody else? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, and it's disclosed that it gets a lot of passing the buck, who's responsible for what, who don't want to pay for what, based off how things were developed. Also, the infrastructure that you guys are putting in, does the city have any input on what size?
Yeah,
all that good stuff, and is it going to match up with currently we have, or at least exceed? As the city grows, we want to make sure that, hey, whatever piping size and all the infrastructure that we put in the ground is going to meet, let's say, a 20-year or 10-year, however. Because these were designed 4 years ago, and I wasn't sure if that's still in par in a direction that we need to grow as a city.
Yeah.
So I'll answer the first question. The truth of the matter is that, maybe you might have a model home, there might be a sign that says it's a PID, there'll be a PID fee. The Texas Real Estate Commission, they give the standard forms for purchase contracts. I think it's right there, section 7, they got to check, yes, you're in a PID, what the fee is. And then by statute, I think it's 504 of the property code, they have to give the notice. A new homeowner is going to ignore all that. They're never going to realize any of it until they see the bill, and then they get mad and then come yell at you, and then you send them to Jordan. And that's how it goes. Nobody pays attention. I have friends that are moving into all these PIDs I'm financing all over Rockwell and County, and I'm like, you're in your PID. He's like, no, what's that? I said, well, you got to pay an assessment. Now I'm a veteran. I don't pay it. I don't pay taxes. It's not a tax. It's not a tax, but it is administered procedurally. All the procedures, how to collect it, everything cross-references the tax code. So it's collected like a tax. It's managed like a tax, but it's not a tax. It's not a property tax. That's your first question. The second question is typically the nice thing about negotiating is you would negotiate like development standards. So you would say, yes, we want to see this size pipe here. Yes, you're going to be building there, but maybe somebody moves in after you, so we don't need a 6-inch pipe. If there's going to be another 2,000 homes behind you someday, we would need a 10-inch pipe. And that's called oversizing, and then the city and the developer decide how to split the cost of that. This was done quite a while ago, and so these development agreements, I don't think were as detailed as maybe the ones that we see now. I don't know, Steve, but there should be some sort of development standards that are agreed to in there.
It's Exhibit B, there's a full subset for that.
And so that was all negotiated, that's all been established.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, so especially on that first point, the home buyer disclosure, as you said, that is a statutory requirement. It is part of that package that the homeowners do sign, but that is our job as a PID administrator, is if a resident calls and says, what is this? We have a team that's specifically there to answer those questions. So every single year, the statute requires that we come back with a SAP update, and as part of that, as homes come online, there will be a home buyer disclosure that's attached to there, so that any person who buys a home, that is filed with it as part of the property records. So to Rudy's point, there are lots of statutory requirements and paperwork requirements, but to the extent anybody is not reading those and has questions, that's what our team is there for, is y'all should not be answering those questions. Yeah.
Just for the record, when you asked about the standards, my understanding is the current engineering and subdivision design standards have been in place for more than 4 years now, so they're the same as our current standards at the moment.
Perfect. That's very helpful. And then the other side of that as well, one of the roles as we go through the administration that Rudy and I will work a lot on is going through the actual improvements specifically that are being financed. And so making sure that those are up to the city standards, making sure that those are providing the benefit that the assessment's being levied for. So at this point, the PID's in place, but no assessment's been levied, so we would still be going through all of the engineering, all of those pieces to make sure that's up to that standard.
So the resident or the new potential homeowners essentially paying for the infrastructure, correct? Are they also going to, is any of that development also paying for emergency services or any kind of water services as well? Is that going to be an extra thing?
The water services?
Or any utility service, sorry, or emergency services?
So generally speaking, no. Obviously you bring in 500 homes, that's going to be 800 to 1,000 new people, right? And so that's one of the reasons you charge these fees, right? So you're getting a big fee to understand, and they're helping build some off-site infrastructure for a sewer line that will benefit not just this subdivision, but future subdivisions. So that's part of the quid pro quo, where the city tries to ask them to offset some of their costs. But for ongoing maintenance of utility lines, no, they have to usually give a 2-year bond, where once they dedicate it, it's got to, if anything breaks in the first 2 years, they've got to come and fix it. Maintenance bond is typically, and but for emergency services, generally not. There are some cities that have done separate PIDs to provide for that kind of thing, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah, and especially with it being in the city, it would be, the residents there who are receiving city services would be taxed for those city services, just as part of all the other residents would be. So the PID assessment is limited to those improvements that provide a special benefit. The statute requires a special benefit tax there.
Just so I can chime in just a little bit, we've had some issues with our MUD district and some misunderstandings with residents about, why is there a public safety fee, and then our residents in town don't pay a public safety fee. So this won't have that issue because they are paying city taxes. The PID homes will be paid city taxes as well. So there will not be an extra public safety fee, if that was a question.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Have you worked out a water model with the city because to make sure the water pressure and all that's going to be okay?
Yeah, that's going to be an engineering question here.
Yes, as part of the engineering review process and putting together our plans for submittal to the city's engineer for review, there is a water study that's in place to make sure that there's enough pressure within the existing system to maintain your TCQ minimums for your water pressure.
Okay, yes, that's a good question. So are you paying for that study or are we paying?
Yes, that's part of our engineering fees,
Okay,
that are
thank
the
you.
fees that we incur for designing the development.
And just remind me again on the lot frontage, how small are those lots gonna
So
be?
our lots, all of our lots in Morningside are 50-foot lots.
Okay, and Morgan Farms?
I believe it's the same, particularly with the development standards now, but as I recall correctly, they were designed at the same time.
It's the same. They're all 50-foot lots.
Okay, thank you.
For
And
what it's worth, that's pretty good size. Typically, we have developers fighting tooth and nail for 35-foot lots,
Oh, yeah,
45-foot
okay.
lots, so.
Well, I think they tried, right? Yeah, they tried.
So for the water, you're basically going to start construction and all that soon? Because I'm guessing you had the discussion that we're not going to have enough water for our citizens until 2028. And so I'm guessing you have something worked out?
I'm going to defer to the engineering side on that.
We have enough water for them.
I think there's a misconception of what water we have. I think we're not going to run out of water. I think from what I understood is that we have planned developments, and all of these developments that have been planned are approved, and we do have enough water for those developments.
Correct.
We do not have more water to approve new developments. So if, for instance, another subdivision came in today, they would not get approved until we get more water from North Texas. I think that's the big misconception of what's going on. We have our water under control as a city as of right now. We have no issues.
And they're going to get the list of when they can use the water because of the water restrictions that we already have in place?
They will be able to do business as usual, just as the rest of our customers do. So we have enough water to serve them.
Okay, so they're not going to be subject to water restrictions?
No, everybody will have the same restrictions.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you had a question about like construction of it. When I made my update earlier, I specifically mentioned kind of status of Morningside and Morgan Farms. They're actively constructing those utilities as we speak. So a lot of them are already in the ground. I actually worked on this project 4 years ago with the previous developer and their engineer at that time. So all of the commitments to water capacity, sewer capacity, those have already been allocated for many, many years. Kind of parroting what Mayor Pro Tem said.
And our engineering inspectors go out there and make sure that those standards have been met on an ongoing basis.
Yes, ma'am. We have regular inspectors that are out there every day making sure they're following installation practices that are required by the city of Josephine. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you guys very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
No,
Yep.
I'm not. I hate them. I hate them.
I don't know, but it's impressive.
I just
These are we need to send everybody's questions to after they
Yes,
buy it.
yes.
Okay,
We'll be passing out your cards.
Yeah, let me see cards.
All right. Give me a second. I'm giving them a second. All right, we're going to move on to item 4.5, receive monthly planning report from the city planner, McGill.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, Mayor's not here, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. We had a pretty active month, and we expect the next couple of months to be even more active. So we do have 2 active concept plans or site plans. The engineering report from Kimley Horn covered them pretty well. We do have comments on both that still need to be addressed, particularly with drainage, so we will be scheduling meetings with those developers in the next week or 2 to go over those comments and minimize further resubmittals. We have 3 code amendments that are being presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission this week. They will be coming before you next month. One is a 3/4 majority, and that's based on just complying with the changes to the state law. The next one is about the preliminary engineering, and that is to ensure that allow developers, particularly in the commercial side, as they're doing their due diligence, they like doing preliminary work first before going all in, and also to allow for changes as site constraints come up during field. We still have the ability to request the final detail before they go to construction. So this is kind of setting up the stage for revamping our development process to streamline it, to make it more easy and fall more in line with the cities that are seeing more success in retail and restaurant development. The very next item, excuse me, my apologies. And then the third one is a zoning change to remove some automotive-related uses from our general commercial zoning district, and that is a direct response to an increase from gas stations and other automotive-related uses trying to go into our city. So we've heard plenty of feedback from people concerned about having a 3rd gas station, so adding more is probably not the best direction. So I will be visiting with the city attorney to go over the legal non-conforming designations. There's some concerns about if there is, say, an accident or an act of God, can they rebuild? And our code is a little vague on that, so I'm trying to make sure I can provide clarity and protection for the existing businesses. Any questions so far?
If you go back to the active case number 1.
Yes.
It's my opinion, but I believe that less is more, and I'm wondering if you could remove under section A, item 1 and item 2, because it's pretty strongly worded about a person who owns a business in this city, and it says that the developing, I'm not going to read it, but I think it's pretty strong and could be misunderstood as being harsh against the person that's working. Saying that they don't fully understand is a very strong statement. And I'd just like to see 1 and 2 removed because less is more. Also, if that's okay?
That's fair.
Thank you. Also regarding the 3 code amendments, you mentioned on the 5th line of A that the city must eliminate this provision from our code ordinances. My understanding from the 3 new laws, including Senate Bill 844 and others, are that that's not actually fully correct, that there can be a difference in the 3/4 majority in different situations, and House Bill 24 and Senate Bill 840 and Senate Bill 15 also address that.
This is specifically only to the situation when there's a recommendation of denial. All the others, our code is silent, so we automatically defer to state law.
Correct. And the new legislation of House Bill 24, maybe we could revisit that offline at another time.
Sure, yeah,
Thank you.
but this request is specific to this instance, and this is following the repeal of that section. So basically, the state legislature wanted to remove the barrier for and make it easier for a rezoning that's contested to be approved when P&Z recommends a denial.
That is correct, yes. But the way that says must eliminate this provision, there are situations where we would go a different direction regarding House Bill 24, Senate Bill 80, Senate Bill 15, and Senate Bill 844.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to clarify
Thank you.
in the between now and next month.
Thank you. And the issue about the preliminary plat, you're asking us to give the city engineer a preliminary plat only. However, there are many recommendations to not fully let that happen, to continue with the final plat as the final engineering plans in addition to the preliminary plans.
So, and engineering can chime in on this change, but when we have a preliminary plat with associated engineering plans, it makes it extremely difficult for us to complete our review on time. And with the, we have the state breathing down our neck with the 30-day shot clock, and that is just, in my opinion, and engineering can concur, I'm not sure that they have enough time to fully review a full, what's called a 3D detailed set of engineering plans. This still will provide a safeguard to ensure that the preliminary plat gets approved with preliminary engineering, because that'll determine on the city staff our comfort level when saying, yes, this is something that we can feel comfortable that you can go into the design. So it's really to ensure that we still have the ability to determine the feasibility on the city's perspective and infrastructure and services, but it doesn't really force a developer to go out and do all this work if it turns out to be something that's not going to work. And it's really about, particularly with the commercial developments, especially when you have PDs, you might find that after one site of a PD gets approved, then the developer may change their plans, so then we have to go back and potentially redo engineering. So we're really just trying to streamline the process, but we will make sure that there are safeguards to protect us from, making sure that our development that does come in is something that adds to our city and it's an improvement and an increase.
So Jacob, are you so busy you can't do things in 30 days? I mean, is
Well, Jacob is not reviewing development at the moment. It's actually Kimley Horn, but this aligns with.
sorry.
But
it said engineer,
it's not
city
acceptable.
engineer, so.
But I mean,
I think it's got more to do with that 30-day shot clock includes multiple reviews. And so if we review it, send comments back, they take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to revise those comments, and then they send it back. That only gives us maybe a week to turn it around. So doing the preliminary plat with the preliminary engineering plans instead of full engineering just gives us the time to preliminarily approve based off of the ordinances, and then we can get into the weeds of the actual design with the construction plan approval. So we'll still look at the construction plans and their detailed review, but the preliminary engineering is just more of a high level, does this meet the basic code requirements?
Okay, so the engineer is with you, not the city engineer, Jacob.
We split services,
Okay.
so Elizabeth does a lot of the internal city limit design review. I've been more affiliated lately with the MUD developments, and I can kind of give you an example. So the Wildflower development, that's a forthcoming development, 3,000 plus homes, they're going to submit a preliminary plat for the entire development at once. And asking them to provide final detailed engineering plans for a 3,000 home community would probably be unthinkable. That would take them over a year to design final plans. And so a lot of times what we do is when they submit a phase at a time, they'll submit their detailed plans at that. So with a big community, they did this with Magnolia, they phase things in. And so at the time of preliminary plat for very large subdivisions, they oftentimes submit a preliminary set just to give you a layout of how things are looking, how we want to do it, and then they'll come back with more detailed stuff as each phase progresses.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
So I have another question for engineering. Because does this cost more?
Is it what?
Does this cost more?
We pass costs through to the applicant.
if you ask the question, does it cost more to who? To us or the developer? This saves.
For the city.
Well, our costs are passed through, so it's cost neutral to us. Essentially, this does streamline the development process and reduce costs to the development, because if they find that the preliminary engineering, the city finds it's unfeasible, we can deny it. And we'll have the grounds to deny it even based on that preliminary engineering, and they don't move forward. So essentially, I'm more concerned about retail really than residential, is I don't want them to spend a lot of money and then finds out they can't really do it. That kind of we're trying to eliminate barriers for, particularly the retail development.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I stepped back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, any questions on the zoning change?
On chart amendments, I
Yes.
looked in our ordinances and I could not find the word chart amendments.
It's a use chart, so this was just a heading for use chart, but it's section 22, and it's our use chart, and our P&Z agenda is already online. I can forward that record, but it's really just requiring SUPs for some uses that are automotive related. So you'll still have the control to allow it, but it gives you more control. Because right now I had 2 others already inquiring. Now this doesn't stop them from going to the ETJ, but since we have little land that we can collect, more sales tax on in the city limits and have more control, this is the urgency behind that change.
Thank you.
Case tracking is ongoing. We kind of paused it because we realized we have no case numbers right now. I'm trying to create that from scratch, and then I realized finance already has had that. So to streamline that and ensure accurate record keeping for costs, those pass-through costs, I'm kind of putting that on the back burner a little bit while we regroup. You may have seen the stakes already here at the food truck park, so they'll be ready to pour in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to start looking at furniture options and shades. So we understand that somebody is intending to potentially do a farmer's market in our city park and is seeking interest in doing that. So it's very preliminary. It's just an initial inquiry, but we're trying to rethink potentially how we lay out that area for the walkway and tables to facilitate those kinds of activities as well, to kind of activate that side of the park as well. The UDC is a little bit delayed. So regarding the fee schedule update, this is just for planning and development fees. So we're going to look at partnering with UT Dallas. They've done this with other cities to review their fees and ensure that it is cost neutral to the city, and the city's, essentially getting fairly compensated for the services that we're providing, while also maintaining a competitive level. So obviously we want to be competitive, but we also don't want to make sure that we're fairly compensated. So our scope of work is increasing right now. For example, a plat review or subdivision site plan review, it's only the engineering cost for the 10% administrative fee. And to be frank, I'm just not sure if that's enough for the city to really cover its administrative costs. So that's going to be forthcoming. Regarding transportation planning, so Kirk was able to get our speed study going on, and our results are forthcoming. As soon as we get those, we'll share them with y'all, and then we can look at options. The outer loop, so y'all saw the alignment on the website. You may disregard all the other stuff about a potential shift. The city of Nevada last week approved a resolution supporting that current alignment closer to their city limits. So Collin County sticking with that. There are also environmental and utility constraints that prevent it from going towards the middle. So our residents are, from what I saw in the public comments, our residents are finding this result to be favorable. We feel really good that our input was able to get this change happening. So we feel this is a very positive outcome for our city and our ETJ. And once that alignment is finalized, we may have to explore future land use map changes to reflect the new opportunities and potential challenges in terms of encroaching development on those residential subdivisions. So trying to create some buffer zones and things like that. There will be a public meeting in November, just like the one we had in the spring, to receive public input, but I strongly doubt that there will be changes in the alignment. We're meeting with Hunt County next week, this Thursday, to kind of go over development trends on their end and what are their challenges and opportunities, things that we might not know about. We want to start creating a more constant communication with them, and we're going to look at their thoroughfare plans and other efforts to align them. Now that we're calling counties almost done with their planning efforts, we want to align those with Hunt County. I talked about our park and trail master plan, so that's coming to PNC this Thursday and then to you all in November for adoption. I've reviewed the draft. I have very minor comments that will be addressed between now and the city council meeting, but other than that, I feel very good with the input that the public generated, and they incorporated that feedback into this plan. I will be going to the APA conference next week, and I do want to reach out to graduate schools across the state. Most of them help small towns like ours with their downtown or other types of plans. We feel we can get some really good quality and innovative products, and I feel that our city center plan could be a good candidate for one of those programs. So I'll be reaching out and I'll be informing you of the results. But we feel that that could be a good opportunity to not just mentor younger planners, but also get some newer and fresher ideas for activating this area. We are going to see, I can tell you, at least 2 rezonings, straight rezonings to commercial on some properties. And I can think of at least 1 PD that's also going to be forthcoming in the next few months for mixed use. And there are some developers that are outside our city limits that have expressed an interest in annexing, which could be a great opportunity to assert more control over the development, but also bring in the sales and property tax revenue. And the UTD aerial map is ongoing. We expect that to be done by probably the end of this month. Any questions?
I just have one quick one. Going back to the fee schedule with UTD, I'm assuming that's going to be less than $50,000 because there's no request for qualifications or bidding.
It would be, yeah, far less. And if it comes to that threshold, we would follow the protocol.
Next question I have, can you explain what you need from them that you can't get on the internet? So Plano has their fees online. Van Alstyne, Caddo Mills, all these other cities already have for free their development fee schedule online. So what is it you're missing?
It's not really that I'm missing much. I can get this information, but this study does involve a little bit more statistical expertise that I'm used to or that I'm experienced in, because this would involve not just the class group, but a professor. And really, I'm trying to focus, workload-wise, I'm trying to focus on some of the other development matters that I'm, reviews, zoning cases, future land use map, and some of the comprehensive planning elements. This is just to kind of outsource the work, but at a very minimal cost. I'm not seeking to outsource everything I do, but I'm trying to, it's an educational opportunity, but it also, it's at a lower cost for us to do some of that work.
When you say minimal cost?
I don't have a number, and once I have that number, I will bring it up to you. And ultimately, council, regardless of the cost, that's not something I'm comfortable seeking administratively. It will be coming up to you for approval.
So it's coming back to us?
It will come back to you. Regardless of the cost, I want to bring this up to you, and the professor will be here to present the scope of work and things like that.
I think you also mentioned powder coating in your report, or was that later?
That is something that we're still working with TxDOT on the powder coating. On some of these, it may have already been too late on some of the
Yeah, you said that last time.
The
That's
traffic
why I
lights.
wondered.
I don't have an update on that.
Okay,
I apologize.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the monthly planning report.
I'll second.
Oh, wrong one. Damn. Sorry. My agenda just closed out. You can mark mine for 4. I've got to reopen the packet again and I can't find it. Oh, Board of Adjustment. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Discuss, consider, and enact regarding adoption of proposed municipal development district bylaws. So,
what you have in your packet is the suggested changes by Dr. Sardo. I did not receive any other comments from other members. So you have the what she suggested to either be stricken or changed or added. And then alongside that, you should be able to open up the city attorney comments as related to her suggestions.
So I'm good with the comments from the city attorney. There's about a dozen or so that it's either a request the council to agree on, or I think there was actually one in here for finance as well, and a couple of them that the request for the city attorney to comment on. I'm good with approving this as with a city attorneys, but I would like to, and I can read them off, there's only like 12 of them, I think, but have it come back next month and have the other 12 items clarified, or we debate them at that point, if everybody's amenable to that.
I agree.
Okay. So I'm just going to call it out as comment BJ2, which is the actual comment that needs clarification. BJ3, BJ12, and let me know if I'm going too fast. BJ17, BJ23, BJ28, BJ32, BJ33, BJ36 are the ones that need just a little bit more debate or clarification on it. And then there's one page that's left blank. I'm assuming that's just formatting.
I would think so.
Okay. And then there was one spot where it actually had an item F with nothing after it. So I'm assuming that's formatting as well.
I think it was when we added
Yeah.
it, just didn't go away.
Okay.
And thank you to Brandon. I think you're the one who took the bull by the horns to write this up, was it you?
Brandon
Thank
helped
you.
me greatly. He retyped all of this for me.
Thank you. I know this was tedious. Thank you.
So if nobody has other comments or questions, I'd like to go forward.
No,
with
you're
that-
good.
That
Got a
motion and
motion?
then bring it back next month. Do we have to actually vote that, or
Yeah.
we just table it?
Just so I'm
Okay.
clear, but you do want me to go ahead and incorporate the city attorney comments as suggested?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
I make a
make-
motion to adopt with the city attorney comments and then clarification on the items I just previously listed.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. We're going to move on to item 4.7, receive an update from staff, followed by discussion regarding traffic safety concerns on FM6.
Kirk, or one of you want to provide a quick update? I know we kind of addressed it just a minute ago, but maybe just a little bit more detail about where we are on that?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem Council, I did reach out to Hunt County, and I did follow up Thursday. They have another couple weeks before we get the actual results back. And then as soon as we get them, we'll share them with you.
But they did do a speed study, correct?
Speed study, yes, ma'am.
What's
Questions?
involved in a speed study, Kurt?
It's going to be a traffic count, and it'll have specific date, times, tell you what the flows are of, the heaviest time periods. And it's actually a really good tool for us and planning because it will tell us what the traffic flow trends are. And then from there, we'll pass it off to the chief, to the fire department, you all to look and see if we can request to lower the speed. That was the intention.
So the option is still on the table to lower the speed out
Yes.
towards Riverfield is what,
Yep.
as I remember the last discussion we had, I heard that they said that there was not enough room to buffer from 55 or 60 to 40 or whatever.
I talked to the regional office in Paris, and this is the direction they told us to go.
Got you. So I guess that would, but does that mean that we would probably, if we did lower it, we would have to lower it all the way from Riverfield all the way through to the 40 mile
We
an
need to
hour?
wait for the
I
study.
can't answer
You've got to
that.
request to get a little closer to the microphone.
More than likely, we will have to,
Yes, we'll just have to ask and follow the direction.
got you.
I got a question, Chief. Does that trailer that we have, does that not give vehicle counts, speed data, and all that good stuff?
I mean, the answer is no.
Are you sure?
Not unless they
No, that
update.
speed trailer does not have a count, but we did have some equipment from Stocker that was on a loaner here a while back, and it's approximately 8,000 cars a day on FM6.
The reason I knew that is because we bought that from a local resident, and it was an older trailer, and we upgraded it ourselves, so, with the previous chief.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, item 4.8, discuss, consider, and act, adopt an ordinance regarding regulating golf carts and ATVs. So you want to give us a little bit of an update of,
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Myself and the city attorney worked on this together, and we addressed not only the golf carts, but the off-road highway vehicles too, where both of them is going to require that they have liability insurance. There's a lot more to it than just that. There's requirements, by law that they have to do to be able to do that in a lawful and safe manner. There was one item that was omitted accidentally. So on the copy that you have, it kind of stops at 12.09.004, but there's also one more section of that, which is 1209.005, which concerns public safety personnel. So this would make it, if they were in the performance of their duty, that they would be able to, in the city limits, ride it. We don't have any equipment like that right now, but in the future, we probably will have some more like that. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So in the new ordinance, it basically states that you can't drive golf carts at night. It says only in daytime, during the daytime, on section 1, I guess it is. The maximum speed for public street is no more than 35 miles an hour during daytime.
Rob, do you recall any of that?
Can we strike that?
can we change it to where unless they have
Well,
proper lighting?
They have that in here. That's down on section 5. It says a golf cart has to have headlights, taillights, reflectors.
just need to strike during the daytime.
So
Okay.
when I read all the Texas code law on this, it basically said it can be allowed if they have the proper lighting. So it's really up to us whether or not we want to allow it at night.
Yeah, I agree.
Where are you looking at, Gary, again?
The very page 1, section 1.
Sentence 1.
Right here.
In the first one?
Yeah.
I think we strike
Okay.
during the daytime.
Second sentence of that number one there, during the
Yeah, because I
daytime.
know, like at Halloween, I know that especially in High
Yeah.
Meadows. There's a lot.
There's a lot of them driving around, yeah. The other thing too is the license plate issue, which is the paragraph above that. Under the Texas code, it says that we have the ability to not have them have to get the registered, non-registered only in the city streets, but not on Texas highways. If they drive it on Texas highways, they have to have a plate.
Special license plate issued by the department.
If they're gonna drive on Texas highways. Right, yep.
Yeah, but that's not on state highways, that's only city.
Well, from my understanding, they're not legal on farm to market or state highways, either one, no matter what you have on it.
They are under according to the quote, or the code that you're actually issuing here, this 551.402, that actually states it, that it has to have that license on there for anything that's under 35 miles an hour. So obviously, you know, FM6 it can't be because it's 40 miles an hour.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, because the speed limit's over 35 miles an hour.
They can't have it, but
Yeah.
that's the only time the license plate is required is if it's 35 or lower on a Texas highway, which we don't have any of those in our city.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it won't apply because these are all, you know, the lowest is 40 miles an hour on farm to
So if
market
it's
state highways.
So if it's a city street, we can determine whether or not they need that license. Because under that same section, which I've done a lot of research on this, in that same section, there is a provision within that that basically states that a person may operate a golf cart on a highway in a manner authorized by this subchapter only if the vehicle displays that, except for if you're in a master plan community. Most of our neighborhoods are classified as a master plan community because there are more than one subdivision, or more than one lot in a subdivision on a city street. So I just want clarification which way we want to go as a council. Do we want them to have to go through the burden of getting a license plate, or just say, hey, if it's in a city street, it's below 35 mile an hour, you have to have a license, driver's license, and proof of insurance. And, well, yeah, and the safety equipment. That's up to us as a council. So I just want to clarify that point before we look at anything else.
I'm okay with not having a license.
I want to ask Rob. Rob, is that your take on it?
The city can only do what the statute permits you to do. You can't leave out anything that's required by the statute. You can't add anything that's not in the statute. There may be some optional things in here. The license plate, for example, is under a different statute than the ones you're reading from, as is the insurance.
Do you want the statute? I can give it to you.
Those are separate statutes that apply to motor vehicles on the public street. Proof of financial responsibility. The license plates are required for them if they go on a public street at all. Yeah. And I don't think what you have is what's called a master plan community. You have to have deed restrictions that apply to all the lots in those, and I don't know of any that have. So I'm not sure you fall in that category, but anyway, this is the most you could permit. You don't have to permit them.
So let's just read the statute as it reads from Texas Penal Code. The Texas Department of Motor Vehicles may not register a golf cart for an operation on a highway, regardless of whether any alteration has been made to the golf cart. B, a person may operate a go-kart on a highway in a manner authorized by this subchapter only if the vehicle displays a license plate issued under this section. C, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, subsection 1, shall by rule establish a procedure to issue license plates for golf carts, which is an off-road license plate, essentially. May charge a fee not to exceed $10 for the cost of the license plate to be deposited to the credit of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles Fund. And D, a golf cart license plate does not expire. A person who becomes the owner of a golf cart for which the previous owner obtained a license plate may not use the previous owner's license plate. So we, in ours, we're asking, currently as it sits, we restrict them to daytime only and have a driver's license and have proof of financial responsibility. My opinion is, I mean, this doesn't say anything about city highway or city streets. Highway is pretty much, as I enforce. I mean, there's city and then there's state roads, and
It's the city street that has above a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Highway is kind of a generic term there. It includes city streets and roads and anything but an alley, probably.
So my question is what do you feel comfortable with? I mean, we do have some golf carts in our neighborhood, right, Alex? But not probably to the extent that you guys do. And I know this is near and dear to your heart. So do you feel comfortable with them just doing the financial responsibility and the safety and the driver's license, and then not worrying about the license plate? I mean, because if we do that, now we have to issue them as a city, right? And now we put responsibility.
No, you can issue them out. You have to go down to the tax office and get tax.
Oh, so it's not going to be.
It's like a TX 130 form you've got to fill out.
So it's not through the city. Okay.
No, it's
I was
through
thinking
no, it's
if we're
through the
issuing
state.
them for a city, not for a state, because you can't drive them on state, regardless, right? So it's still issued through the state. Then it's not. Okay. Well, I
Well, you
misunderstood
can drive
that
them
part.
on a highway if it's less than 35 miles an hour with the plate.
I care as long as they're visible, whether day or night. I care that if that vehicle that they're operating crashes into another vehicle, that there's some liability insurance for the I guess the person's vehicle they got hit or damaged to, or somebody gets injured, and then I guess that's really it. And as long as they're visible day or night, whether that's headlamps, tail lamps, reflectors, parking brake, and those are all of it's going to be enforced through JPD. But really, if they have a driver's license, I mean,
they need, in my personal opinion, they need headlamps if they're going to ride at night. No reflectors.
Right.
I mean, they can have reflectors on the back, but I think they need headlamps because they're not going to be able to see. But I mean, can we even say that? I guess is the question.
I'm good with all of that, and we can, because we're the city, we can do that aspect of it, and that's kind of aligns with the state law. The only thing that I had a concern with was the burden on the homeowner or the property owner, the golf cart, to have to go and get licensed. And if we do go down that route, do we do a grace period? How do we do that? Because there is a lot of golf carts in the city. There is a ton of golf carts in the city.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do it intentionally on the
if
on
we-
the enforcement end of it. We're going to have some sort of grace period. The only thing I don't care to have a grace period for is insurance.
Right.
I don't know that we can pick and choose what part of the state statute that we get to use. If we can do this without licensing, we need to. I just don't know. I hear one thing here and think somebody needs to make a decision. I can't trust the city attorney.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So I think our direction would be that we need to get the license. But I'm good with everything else. I don't know if you guys are just a license plate piece of it in the daytime.
okay. You got a motion?
I think they should have a driver's license as
Well,
a motor vehicle.
I think that's going to be that's probably going to be the number one
pushback.
Pushback is driver's license, but majority of your ATVs or UTVs or whatever say it on there that you have to be at least 16 to drive anyways.
It's hard to get insurance on something you're not licensed for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have that. Yeah. It's just a license plate issue is what I have.
So do we have a motion?
It's a one-time only $10 charge for permanent license plate and stays with the vehicle forever. It's not a big burden.
Have you been to the DMV lately?
Hey,
Have you made an appointment to the DMV lately?
It takes 3 to 4 months to get into them. Yeah.
That's not my problem.
Well, exactly. You don't live here. That's what I'm looking at as the undue burden on the actual person, that we haven't had this in place and we're going to put it in place. I don't have a problem if we decide that we're going to put license plates on, but I'm saying we've got to put this out and get people educated, and there has to be a grace period to get that license plate on there, or we just don't do it at all. I mean, that's my concern, is that the undue burden, and we just had a board of adjustments for undue burden, right? This is undue burden on our citizens if we do this. That's what I'm looking at.
We're all burdened by the law, but we can't ignore it just because it's
I'm not saying ignore it. I'm saying go do the research and make sure that that's right. From
Can
what
we
I'm reading,
find out if
what
it's
I'm
a
reading
law
in this right
so
now
we
is
can
that they're
do
not
this?
required for city streets. That's the way I'm interpreting it. I just gave you the codes. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit that. But the way that I'm seeing it, it's not there.
Yeah. Well, let's make a motion.
Yeah, so I have to make a motion to table this until the research is done.
So, and then what is that you're wanting to research? Yes.
The license plate.
Okay. I just want to make sure it was
Okay.
on record.
So the
What's
license
defined as
plate is the only point of
a highway,
contention going
roadway.
forward.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those all have definitions in the penal code.
They do,
I think in the daytime too, Brad.
So are we
sorry,
saying we
traffic.
need to cut the 3 words of during daytime out? So
Yeah,
Yes.
but we can't even really do that
We
without
can't even
making
do
a
that
complete
without knowing
motion,
what we're
so
doing. We're not even
let's
passing
table
the
whole
ordinance
thing.
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe also a definition for master plan community and city street versus highways and things like that, just to offer some clarity as well.
Yes, that would be great to have a
I'm
definition of
concerned
those.
with giving the staff instructions on what to come back with this for.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pass.
No,
a
no, no,
motion.
yeah, okay.
So we need to find out about we don't want it to be just for daytime. And we need to come back with information whether we can legally omit the license plate requirement. And that's it, correct?
Correct.
And after we get those stated,
Then we can move forward.
we
I
need
believe we
this
can move forward,
ordinance.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Chief, for putting this
Thanks,
together.
Jeff. And Rob.
All right, 4.9, discuss, consider an act to direct staff to adjust the community center.
We need a motion. I'll make
Oh,
a
I
motion
thought we
to table the golf cart
Oh,
till more research is done.
Second.
like you're, oh, we already made the motion.
It's
up.
like we have a golf cart
Yeah.
we're gonna put on the table. We're getting close, that's important.
I don't think they should pay.
Come on.
Raise your hand.
I agree.
I don't see any choice.
Would you like me to mark it for you, or just?
Yeah, just mark it, yes.
Yes.
I agree with the rest.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, 4.9, discuss, consider an act to direct staff to adjust the community center use policy.
Okay, we adopted a policy, a use policy, before we opened up the community center for the public for renting it, for renting the venue. We knew that we wouldn't be able to anticipate every situation, so that venue is rented more often than not. We've had a crazy amount of rentals. Jerica may chime in from time to time because she's the one that actually deals with most of those and makes the arrangements. We've had a few questions come up, and we just want to make sure that we know what your wishes are and that we allow for fair use and reasonable use of the facility. So just a few things that have come up. A couple of them are just informational. We've got 2 churches that have booked the facility every Sunday through the end of the year. It doesn't seem to be interfering with anyone else at this time, so we don't have a problem with them, just letting you know how often that it is used. We also have some other requests that sometimes we question whether or not we should allow the use. We have things as simple as recurring art classes, instructional type things, but we also have people that want to use it for more activity, physical activities like dance and cheer. And we kind of feel like the building really isn't meant for that type of activity. It's not a gym. It doesn't have hardwood floors. It's not really equipped for that kind of activity. So we kind of like to get some clarification if you're more comfortable just keeping it to more of a kind of a classroom use or not quite gym level activities, and kind of get your opinion on that, as well as some other questions about how often people can use the facility or rent the facility. We just don't want anyone to be able to be knocked out of use because someone's got it rented consistently. So
You mentioned too, like we have someone that's wanting to rent it all day for 3 to 5 days a week, or three days a week, which would limit the use of the public to go in and use it. And they're trying to use it 3 to 5 days a week during the day,
all day.
all day.
What's the purpose?
Which would,
One of them was I think it came across as an art class, but it's where parents drop off their kids, and it's 2-hour increments, but I think you can enroll your child for more than one class at a time. So we have large groups of children all day long, and it looks more like a daycare to us than it does just a...
Are they charging a fee for these kids?
Yes.
That's
We're not real comfortable with the daycare feel of it.
That's not bad.
I mean, my thought process is like we built it to give it to the public, but at what point do we say, like, where do we draw the line is what I guess the next question is. Because, like, if we, for instance, when we had our meet and greet last week, I had one 18-year-old student that was telling me that he goes in there 2 to 3 times a week to study and uses the internet and studies and whatever, and uses it as an area. And if we have somebody that's leasing it during the day, 3 days a week, that limits his use, and that's a problem for me.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. So with everything that's kind of came up with our current staff, anyone that's dealing with this, I put together 2 different options, and I feel free to change anything, but I just kind of wanted to simplify it. So the first one would be the reoccurring issues, or the reoccurring rentals, sorry. How many would y'all like to allow? So when someone calls us and asks, hey, I want to book 10 days out of the month, are y'all okay with that? Do we want, because then, you do have those people that call and the dates are reserved by one in particular resident. And this has happened multiple times. People love the community center, which is great, what we want it for. But do we want it to be for more than just 1 to 4 residents or communities or organizations? Are you okay with that? And then the second thing is limitations per renter. So if one organization, how many do you want them to allow per week, per month? And how long do you want them to be able to book out? So some people are trying to ask for 2 years out, 1 year out, 6 months out. Our current policy only does a 90 days, and that's what staff follows. We've made a couple exceptions for weddings because they've asked for wedding invitations and things like that to get out. The parent drop-off style was the third thing, and that was more outside of just the one in particular that Lisa was speaking about. There's been other people requesting, can they do that type of event? And we just want to know, are we okay with that? Maybe birthday parties are okay, if they dropped off their kid, are we okay with that? But we get into that daycare style. And with the current building, if it's during office hours, we do have current staff there, and that falls into factor too with the dance classes and cheer practice and things like that. It is hard to work in there even with the doors closed. From our current staff that works in there, they've told us that. The second thing is, are you comfortable as a council with renters charging for activities? Are you okay with them allowing them to cover the cost of expenses? The second option is allow them to charge. It's not our event. How do you want that community center? Do you want people charging if they do, I know one did a vendor workshop and they just charged $5, $10, $15 to cover the cost because they provided food, those kinds of things. Do you want them charging $75 for a learning lesson? Those the daytime rentals, do you want to keep that at least only to meetings? So it's not disruptive to staff while we don't have the space to house everyone here during those times. And then the increase of the rate for our Josephine utility customers. The reason I say that is because current staff for overtime cost on the weekends to come and clean, because we don't have, the cleaning crew doesn't come out there after each event. We have to make sure it's clean in between events. It's costing us $68 at minimum. We only charge $50. So we're losing at least $18 per event on the weekends. So just something to keep in mind. Are you comfortable with that? Would you like to increase that?
So I got a few comments. One, it's a community center. So the aspect of the staff being there, that's being resolved. So to me, that's not a problem. That's an inconvenience to the staff right now until we can get that resolved, which we're working on, which we're actually talking about a change later on in tonight's agenda alone to fix that. So the other thing is it limiting groups specifically. I can come up with a few examples, but we'll go with the Cub Scouts. They typically have a weekly meeting. I don't know if we have any of those yet, but I can tell you that's one of the hardest things to find is a meeting place weekly for a nonprofit like that. So putting limitations on groups, I think that defeats the purpose of having a community center.
I'm suggesting on both options. I do agree, like weekly meetings is okay. This is my personal preference as a
Yeah.
staff. We do agree that once a week is on option one, like max, at least once a week. And then the second option, I did 10 a month. So that way it's not just a weekly basis, but so that way at least once a week is allowed. But we don't want someone, we've had requests for Monday through Friday. That's all of the events. Is
I don't
that
think we should
okay?
treat this, we shouldn't be an extension of their office if they're running a business.
Thank you.
But it's a community center. At the end of the day, it's a community center. It's not I just found a really cheap office space, right? However, if they want to run an event and charge the people at the event, that's up to the people doing it, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with them recouping their money. I'm not okay with it being a profit and reserving it all the time. I'm okay with them doing a couple of classes to see if there's an audience for what they're wanting. But to operate a business out of our community center 3 days a week is shame on us.
Especially if they're not paying us taxes.
And as far as the rates, I think we ought to have a weekend rate and a weekday rate.
That's a good option. We considered that the first time when we went to flat rate. So that's up to council if y'all want to change that. Would Friday be included? Because after Friday evenings, we would have to clean too.
How many times have this happened, or that situation happened, since we've had it open?
Since we've had it open, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday has been booked.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
I think there's one Saturday that was a last minute cancellation, but it's booked every weekend until the end of 2025.
I want to make sure it's available for Boy Scouts, nonprofit groups. And I want to make sure it's available for them without it being taken up for, $25 a night yoga classes, things like that. And
I don't see an issue. Like, I don't
want to. I mean, I'm okay with yoga classes being in there, but I don't want it 4 days a week because they can schedule it out 2 years.
Right.
In 2 years from now, our schedules might change if you go.
I mean, do you think we should limit it? Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to say yes or no because, like, honestly, I agree with.
Big subject.
I would agree it's a community center. That's what we built it for. But at the same time, like, if somebody rents it out every day, like, then there's going to be somebody missing out, and there's probably going to be somebody that's missing out that's probably needs it more so than the one that's renting it every week or every day.
So I'll just kind of hit the highlights. Would you be comfortable instead of booking 3 months out if we went to 6 months?
Sure, yes.
Okay. I'm a little hesitant to go as far as a year just because we're a city.
I think it needs to, I think the booking out, if we just keep it as a standard 6 months, that's fine. But we need to have exceptions like you guys brought up with weddings, right? I mean, if somebody's going to rent it for a wedding, we need to be able to give that bride and groom a date that they can do it.
I mean, they should be able to,
yeah.
like, sometimes people plan their wedding in over a year.
Right, it has to be common sense.
Okay, so in the policy stating 6 months out is standard unless, like,
And-
staff discretion for?
Yes.
Okay.
Now with the 10 a month max kind of hurts the art classes and things, and I'm not going to oppose that, but what I'd like to just remind people is we are a changing city with small businesses that are trying to get off the ground, and they may want an art class or a little tumbling class for 3 months until they get some money under their belt to find a regular location. Startups are expensive and people don't have a lot of startup funds. The other thing is, for the ones that are trying to book 5 days a week all day, that's $15,000 a year for 30 weeks, just as an example. And we're not a profit and loss center, we're not supposed to be, and they are paying taxes for the most part, as far as I know. If somebody lives in the city, they're paying city taxes, and they should be using the community center. The parent drop-off style, to me, that's a liability insurance issue more than anything else, and, I rely on Attorney Dillon.
Well, that and
if you do that, you
daycare licensing issues as well.
Because that's what they do.
That's true, that's true.
Can you limit, like, the amount of children per adult?
That's a license, a daycare licensing.
That's a
yes.
daycare licensing. I mean, if it's truly a daycare, then we as a city should be stopping that, right? That's different than a nonprofit going in there in my mind.
Yeah, it's different than testing out a business plan.
Right.
Yeah, I believe in testing.
And if you say 10 days a month, it's either 2 or 3 days a week you're taking that away from everybody else.
But I'm saying, like, as a safety issue, if we have one adult in there and there's 35 kids and one escapes, you know, now we have a whole nother issue. I say escapes, don't think I'm, you know.
But that's on the people renting. It's not on us, right? I guess that's a question for the lawyer. I mean, if they rent the building and they don't have the right parental coverage, that doesn't fall back on the city, does it? He's not paying attention to it.
I think our concern would be just the condition of the building deteriorating if we only have one adult to 35 children.
But that's why we've got the thing in the lease agreement. If they tear it up, they pay for it.
And we do have an umbrella policy.
Have we looked at other cities, community centers, how they write their
Yes, so a part of
rules
some of
and
these
restrictions?
concerns may not have came up exactly at Josephine, but I reached out to other cities asking their concerns, trying to think in advance of some things that might occur. And some of the things, they don't allow for those daycare style of events. And they have more exceptions in their policy that says like by staff approval and stating like more detailed for different types of events. So currently our policy just doesn't have that, and that's what I'm looking to, personally looking to add to ours, is having more detailed in the policy where it outlines exactly what they can and cannot do.
Have you heard enough comments to where you can put something together and send it to us?
I just
Or
need,
you-
I
or
need
you want
an
them
option.
tonight?
I need these 6 topics answered and just in order to form a new policy.
I've got one last question.
Yes.
In the application, does it specifically detail what they're running for, like who, what, when, where, why, and if there's...
Correct, but that does not mean, there needs to be something in there that states you need to be honest, because it does say that on there, but we've seen where that's listed as one thing and it's ran as a different type of event.
And then how about we issues, like there's some kind of, okay, if caught 1 or 2 times, then you can no longer...
And that part is in there.
I don't know how that would
Yes.
be worded.
We wouldn't re-rent to them.
Got it.
Well, I mean, another thing that we haven't talked about is, I mean, the city chose to have the elections over there. And that's, you know, only a certain amount of temporary time, but that, you know, there's going to be hundreds of people going through the doors. And you talk about deterioration, you set it up for that. So there does need to be some sort of understanding of the use for the
Well,
community.
I hope that if people are voting, they're walking in and they're not doing flip-flops. I think our concern was just, we've seen kids climbing over walls, and we have pictures. We're not going to show you children's pictures in a meeting, but we have pictures of it being very rambunctious in there.
Well, again, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and I've raised kids, and I'd rather have kids giggling and happy than not. But no, you don't want them in the middle of the street. That's true, and you don't have a fence around it. And I hear strongly that you want to avoid kids being there.
No,
And
that's...
maybe birthday parties is the way.
No, I'm not saying we don't want children there. I'm just saying we need to be, I think, reasonable about the use.
So what are you gonna do?
So I think all we've gotten so far is we're happy with going 6 months out, except for perhaps big events such as a wedding.
I'm also okay with increasing the rate so that we cover, and we're not taking losses on cleaning. I think,
So if we moved it from 68 to 75,
I think maybe we increase the rate a little bit on weekends too.
Well, do we need to change it during the week? We're not taking a loss on the week. It's just the weekend, right?
Oh, no.
Your current,
Yeah, so it's just the
your
Saturday,
current staff
Sunday.
cleans up.
Yeah.
And we don't pay them additionally to clean up while they're already being paid on the
Okay,
clock.
so then just the weekend, so weekends going to 75 then? And then still 50 on the weekdays?
Yes. Would you consider Friday, Saturday, Sunday to be the
Yes,
weekend
Friday,
rate?
Saturday, Sunday is a weekend. Because that would have to,
Are we sending cleaning crews in Friday night then, or what's the overtime on Friday?
The overtime, if it's 68 is the average that we pay a staff to go and clean it.
I understand that. But
Each day.
But they're here Friday because they're working, right?
So a lot of the rentals on Friday consist to be like 6 to 9 p.m. So no one's still working at 9 p.m.
Okay,
outside of.
that's what I was asking. That's why I
Yeah,
wanted
they come back.
clarification. Okay, so they actually come back. They don't go in Saturday morning and do it, and then they don't go back Saturday
As long
evening.
as there's not a rental at 7 a.m. the next day, they can wait.
Okay.
But
That's-
sometimes they do have to.
Okay, okay. I'm good with Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just wanted clarification on when they were going in. Yeah. No, I'm there.
And
So no limiting of any type of events, just keep it as is for now?
I think it should at the discretion of the staff, right?
I didn't hear you. What?
Discretion of the staff as far as leaving events, booking events. I definitely think that we need to, like, as far as like weddings and, I don't know, quinceañeras or, I mean, I don't know, birthday parties, I don't think that's, well, I guess a quinceañera is that too, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, like a buddy of mine is planning his, and he's planning it 2 years
all
out,
day for
so
2 days.
it's a bigger deal than.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was 2 conversations I couldn't.
So I guess just weddings and.
I don't think it should be limited to weddings. I think if they come up with an event and say, hey, look, we want to secure this date. This is why. This is what we're doing it for. It should be at the discretion of the staff to say, okay, our policy is 90 days. However, because you're bringing this to us now, we can work with you and assign that date, right?
Okay, so what was the other topics, Trip?
The limitations per renter.
Limitations per renter per month? Do we do that?
I'm struggling with that one.
Yeah, agree.
I'd like to, I got my mic on now. I'd like to throw out 2 days a week. That's plenty to test a business plan, and that ought to leave enough for Boy Scouts and nonprofits to check
So
it.
2 days up to a 4-hour rental? Or all day?
Two
What are they
4-hour rentals.
usually, when the art class comes in, what are they, 4
The
hours?
the
or-
art the art class was 12 hours.
Are they doing it
was
on a
all
Saturday?
day long, back to back.
All day
long.
Friday.
Yeah.
And they had multiple classes in between.
Do we just do 2 4-hour blocks during a week?
Yeah.
Currently, we don't allow, with the staff, we're hoping to extend, but we only allow 1 rental per day. Except on Sundays with the
I like
church.
that because I do want to give businesses a chance to test out an audience, but you test out enough and there's a whole lot of profit there. And they ought to be able to figure it out 1 day a week. Yeah.
So for how long? So they test it out? All right, so for how long? So they get to test it out for a quarter, 2 quarters? How long would you guys want to allow the testing to take place?
I say 2 quarters.
2 quarters? Okay, 2 quarters is good. All right, so I guess I'm up here. All right, so, thanks, Al. All right, okay, so 2 quarters works out. 2 quarters twice a month, or twice a week for 2 quarters?
I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay.
And that's a business plan though,
That's
so
a
like that
business
would be
plan. They
like,
have to submit a business plan then?
Hey, if it's a business, it's a business plan. I mean,
I'm-
really.
I mean, where do we draw that? That's all. I
If
just
it's
wanna-
a for-profit organization, I want them to be profitable, but
Mm-hmm.
after a period of time,
right,
it's our business that they're getting paid for. I mean, we need to take care of our community center to make it available for citizens above business.
Oh, it got serious. The finance person's up here now.
I just wanna throw it out, since I office over there, having Tuesdays and Thursdays dedicated as open public time, as there are senior groups that come in, and
Yeah.
there are homeschool kids that come in, super respectful, and I just wanna make sure that those 2 days don't get infringed.
No, those are non-negotiables. Those
Yeah,
are
so
those
you're
are set by
taking
the
up
city.
more
Those-
time
those
that
should
we
be
need to
blocked.
allow.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, really, we need to be very conscious of what we're taking away.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I thought Tuesdays and Thursdays were permanently reserved.
That's what we're doing
the,
right now.
The 10 to 2 block is locked up for that, so that for sure is not going anywhere. 10 to 2, Tuesdays, Thursdays, those are locked up for the public. Come enjoy it, have a good time.
Okay.
What do you guys think about the idea of having set aside nonprofit days? Like, hey, if you're nonprofit, we block these out for you guys, or you don't want to do that? Just so we
so we
think.
have Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 to 2?
Yeah, that's to the
Why-
public.
The days we lock out is convenient for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nonprofits, I mean, just because I was with the Scouts for so long, I mean, it's the Scouts works around sports.
Okay.
Sports does not work around Scouts.
Ah, there we go. Okay. That's honest.
Yeah, that's something that I dealt with for almost 2 decades.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sports always trump Scouts. Something about those coaches were really picky about the people being there.
Right. It's funny. Okay. So
Did
we're
we get 'em
pretty
all
solid on
answered?
that. Thank you, guys.
So is that enough?
I just want to make sure I have it. So
Gary,
the
I was over
reoccurring,
both for a while, and you're very right. I'd whole lot rather play baseball.
okay, so the reoccurring 6 months with the exception made by staff, the limitations to be for testing for 2 quarters for twice a week, and then parent drop-off.
The parent
No
drop-off-
daycare style?
Well,
Okay.
We can't limit it, right?
No. There's too many events where you'd have a hard time. You're talking about a enforcement nightmare to try to enforce that.
Okay, so maybe if I put something in there, if this is okay with y'all, like, and it's that kind of be more of an exception to staff. Like if we see the type of program it's going to be, and that doesn't seem like, if it was, I'm trying to think. If it said a date night, Monday recurring is what they're asking for.
I mean, it's like a Mother's Day out kind of thing, or
And then that becomes a licensing and liability. So
Well,
I just
they
want to
should
make
have
sure council's on board with it.
is there anything in the state code that would limit that, where they'd have to have a license to do something like that?
Well, the state has some specifics as far as what's considered a daycare and licensing. I think that's what we want to avoid, is
So
anything that falls in that category.
Sorry. So staff just knowing that, I mean, we've done our research on what is allowed and what isn't. Just if those events occur, maybe not add anything that says daycare style, but adding the verbiage that events like that aren't going to be able to be had because of the law.
So
I'll defer to you
And the
guys on that
liability.
one last question too is on top of that, like, do we have anything where if someone damages it, like has
Yes,
damages
yes,
or anything
yes.
multiple times, that they will not be able to use it? Very good. Very good.
And then the renter charging the attendees, we kind of voted on the cities not to handle that, let them charge? Or are we voting for, sorry.
That's up to the event person, yeah.
Okay. And then daytime rentals, meetings only, or all types of events?
I mean,
I say all types, but it's,
Mhm.
but I do understand the disruption to the people who have offices in there.
But we're
just
moving
know
it
that it's
out.
limited time.
They will not be moved out.
Yeah.
We can, even with the current renovations, I mean, Lisa, you can speak more on this, but there will be staff there.
We've outgrown, even with the renovations that we have planned, and we'll talk about here in a few minutes. It's still under this roof, so we're still limited on space. So we may always have to have somebody officed over there.
Well,
We've got some cubicles
Then we
planned
have a
here.
very
let's get to that point.
Yeah, let's
get
get
to that point.
Yeah.
Let's get to that point where it says, when we do our renovation and what we decide on the renovation for this building and how much we're going to renovate and what we're going to add to. I mean, I know we do have some space in the back to add on if we have to, but
The community center should be a community center. It shouldn't be a place of work for our
Yeah.
city employees.
yeah, I don't think our finance team should be in there, to be honest. I mean,
Okay, so come back to that one? after
come
we
back to
discuss-
that one.
Okay.
We'll come back to it when we talk about renovations.
Perfect. And the rate I have for the weekend for the Josephine utility customers to be raised to $75 per 4 hours.
Yep.
Okay. And then physical activities allowed or not? I'm sorry.
Well, I just have, it's a, for the weekend, right? Just for
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
weekend
Yes,
period.
it is for the weekend. Sorry if I didn't say that.
Yeah, and are they, are they, the people that are renting it on the weekend, are they just renting the 4-hour block, or are they renting it for the whole day?
That varies.
The cleaning don't vary.
Well, I think it should be, if you're renting it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it should be for your rental block, the increase. So if they're renting 2, it'd be 50, but then you're adding the additional 25 for the cleaning, right? But if you're renting it just for the 4, it's 75. I mean, it might actually encourage
So-
them to rent it for
Or
the
if they're
whole
just renting for one day or one.
one block, right?
Would you like
But
the
if they're renting for
first-
like 2 days, then they only charge $25.
Yeah, I don't wanna- I don't wanna-
$75 for the initial fee, and then if you have multiple days in a row or multiple.
Multiple of, yeah, then it
Yeah.
goes back to the
Okay.
50. 'Cause
So it's more so like it's 3 different people for Friday, Saturday,
That's
and
fi-
Sunday.
that's fine.
So if we did the first 4 hours at 75 and then
Mm-hmm.
the additional hours at 50, our normal rate, is that okay?
Yes, that's
Yes,
perfect.
okay. And then physical activities allowed in the community center during the week and then the
I
weekends.
don't think it should be a gymnasium. It's a
Nope.
community center.
I agree.
Is that everyone? Yes, okay.
I
Okay,
think we
that's
take
all.
more opportunity for liability with that than anything.
We're good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So
Mm-hmm.
we need a motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 4.10, so discuss, consider, and act to approve a design and contract with Jackson Hunter Incorporated with City Hall renovations in an amount not to exceed $95,000.
Thank you. Rob did have some suggestions for a few tweaks on the language. So any approvals we'd like subject to Rob's approval on the language, as well as we need to comply with contacting historically underutilized businesses. And Kirk has got that in progress. So we hate to delay it another month, so that's why it's on the agenda, but if you want to consider approval, if you're okay with the design, we would ask that you do it contingent upon final language approval by the city attorney, as well as completion of our due diligence on the historically underutilized business contacts.
So based upon the last conversation we just finished up, how many offices are we actually short right now, and how many do we think we need total?
We have 3 people there currently.
And how many are we going to get with this renovation? How many new offices?
And we have 2 in the annex. It's, well, 3 in the annex now. Oh, that's true. 2 in the annex.
Did you say the fire chief?
He's currently in the annex. He'll be moved to
Yeah,
the
he'll be
public
moving over,
safety when
yeah.
it opens. So his is temporary. So Kirk, you worked with the contractor a little bit more frequently. Do you want to go over what we're going to get out of it as far as cubicle space, office space, and kind of generally talk about the walls that go up? Everything is under the roof that we currently have. So.
Currently, what we're planning on doing, obviously, police department will move out. So what we're initially going to do is we're going to move one door that's beside Lisa's office to secure that entire back office area that goes down the hall. We're going to open the hallway up into the existing police department. We'll remove one of the doors in there and bring it a little farther out to secure this entire portion of the building from the general public. Doing that, I'm going to go on a limb and say we should create 4 to 5, 6 office spaces, cubicles. Here we go.
Two.
Just, yeah, rotating people around. Yes.
When the new chief leaves the annex, how many empty offices will there be over there?
There's 3 of us over there officing right now.
And there's
Myself,
only 3.
Miguel.
I
Yes.
don't know why I was thinking there's 4. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out the shortage. If there's 3 at the community center. That's what. So we need 4 spaces, 4 workspaces for this physical year. How many do we need for this full fiscal year?
Correct.
Okay. And we're also gaining a building this year as well. No.
That's for police and fire.
Sorry, we're gaining 2 buildings this year because the fire department is also giving a building. And one of the things I see there, it says Public Works at the front, right? Is Lisa's old office?
This is an old, the original diagram for City Hall, so originally that was
That's
Okay.
where our office is.
And it says police.
So where is Public Works today? At the annex?
No.
No,
They're
public-
at the sewer plant.
Okay.
Yes, they do not have an office. They're often down at the Magnolia wastewater plant and, across.
So they're not going to move up into this. They're going to stay over there.
Hopefully we can, with guidance from the council, maybe get to the new or the old fire station.
Okay, that's what I would hope.
It's kind of the hope.
Yeah, I would hope that we're going to make that building the Public Works building.
Yes, that is going to be the ask or the request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole project's 85,000? Is that what I'm seeing?
Less
95.
than 85.
But if you look on the page, it says 85.
That does not include
This is-
Nolan and any IT stuff that needs to move around, including the door access.
Well, I know the motion is up to 95, but
Correct.
it's showing 85 right now.
Correct.
And that's finished? No kidding.
That's finished.
Okay, before I want an updated, illustrated place of who, what office, and who's going plugged in where. I want it, what building specifically, because I'm lost in the sauce in all this. This is outdated. I want something that's new and current. Whether it's drawn on a piece of paper with that position in there, just something new, because we're looking at it and this is old. So it's kind of hard to make a decision on what's going on.
Well, we need to know where all our staff are going.
Correct.
Yeah.
So whether it's building that building or this building, wherever, it's just something that's new and who specifically is going where and what that looks like. I think this is going to help all of us make a better decision.
Kirk, have they offered up a drawing for this or just kind of said we can do it for 85? And
That we have a drawing. It's across the street. So
Okay,
if you would
can we get
can
that out?
Get it to you.
Email it.
This is
The
the drawing,
architecture.
isn't it? I think this is it. This is what we were provided.
Our drawing looks like that.
Okay.
Can you explain it? Can you point over there and explain it at least so council can see?
I mean, I understand where stuff is going, but, I mean, that doesn't mean that everybody else does, but
Yeah. Would you like for us to bring you back the architectural finalized drawings next month? Okay, we can do that.
all right.
And one of the things I would like to ask as well is we need to know where our staff is going and get them into places that they can actually work. Because having them in the community center isn't optimal workspace for them or our community trying to use the space.
Yes.
Or Public Works at a sewer plant. No.
If we move the fire department.
But I want a drawing. I want it to vote on something and make a move on something where I know specifically that I see where these people are specifically going.
We're going to need to come up with an amount to approve up to for drawings and designs if we want to do that. So our city staff does not need to be doing that.
Correct.
All right. Do you have a motion?
I make a motion to direct the city to come up with a master plan for city staff for the next fiscal year.
Have a second?
I'll second.
That's real general. That is real general.
Do you want to go more detailed? We can.
Within that master plan.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to get detailed drawings of the buildings. We're going to have a staff. When I say detailed, I don't mean $20,000 drawings, just something to tell us where our staff is going to be after we take over the fire department and all the buildings get allocated.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, we're going to play a big shell game, it sounds like, right? I mean, we've got all this stuff coming in place and we just need to, yeah.
I'll second.
All right.
That motion.
Thanks, Kurt.
So this 4.10 vote is going to be revised, because this is not what we're voting on.
Yes, ma'am. Bring it back.
Okay.
It's the motion on what Brad has stated.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on to 4.11, discuss and provide direction to staff regarding upgrading fencing around the cemetery.
I love this. I love this.
Yeah, I don't.
Jerica has some slides on that, and I think Garrett's here to go over the quotes that we received. We did not budget for this item, so it is not in the current budget.
Why not have two different vendors, same size fence? So they're not compared. I mean, they are, but not.
Garrett, do you mind going over the quotes real quick?
So Smith fencing, this is just going to be your standard flat top style fencing, 4 foot tall.
Black iron.
Correct, black powder coated. The left side, the larger number for Smith fencing is on the 4 sides. The 21,792 is for the front side, and then the other 3 sides, the standard black chain link. B and L iron fencing. This is going to be a 5 foot tall fence with the quad spears, which you see next slide. We have a picture of it. A little bit nicer fence. It's also 1 foot taller. Yes, it is double the price. This is the company that did the Nevada fencing. It's been there for almost 2 decades now. I don't have any actual workings with any of these companies outside of just knowing that they did that one out there in Nevada. DSS Fencing is a resident of City of Josephine. He's done work around town. Outside of that, I have not had any dealings with him either. So.
Is that Darren Lee?
Correct. And all these include 2 6 foot fences up front. Basically, they're just going to be the standard, however we like to do that.
Did you say 2 6 foot gates?
Correct. Currently, there's a 12 foot wide opening, and there have 2 granite headstones there. And that limits our.
And you'll just have gates on the front?
Correct, yeah. On the other
it's
3
private property on
correct, yeah. And this does not include the Public Works doing the tear out of the current trees, fencing, and everything else that's there. From my understanding, we're probably going to have to help the private landowners around them, help them rebuild their barbed wire fence also. So that's going to be an incurred cost on us because there's currently an old ran down chain link fence, and then on the outside of that, about 2 foot off of it, is a barbed wire fence. So that's something to consider. This is not a turnkey job. This is a more of a cost on in addition to.
Okay.
Do you have a preference over chain link versus the iron fencing?
I don't see any need for iron on all 4 sides.
Okay.
I see, on the front, the beauty side, on the other 3 sides, chain link I think would be sufficient.
And I can add that Smith fencing is very well known in the Farmersville area, and when I lived in Farmersville, many of my neighbors, over 10 of them, used Smith fencing with no issues.
I've had 3 dealings with Smith, and I won't look anywhere else. I don't care for chain link fence around the cemetery. It'll catch a lot more trash. I like the first visit. I'll tell you right now, I like the first bid from Smith fencing. Oh,
and this is just the standard flat top 2-inch post going across the top, and then it doesn't have the beauty spears and anything like that, which is totally up to y'all, but that is just standard fence.
For its placement, where it's at, its age, simple might be a little bit better. Just my thoughts.
I mean, I can't say, I know I know the owner of the DNS fencing. Known him for a long time. I mean, extremely long time. I don't know. I mean, pricing kind of isn't great, but I do know he does good work from what I've heard. I have not ever seen any of his work, but like I said, I know him personally, and he's a local resident to Josephine, so. Do I need to repeat what I said? No. All right. All right, so I mean, just because he's a local resident is the only reason I say consider it, but I mean, pricing wise, I don't know that he's necessarily the best, so.
Rob is advising that we still do have to check the list for historically underutilized businesses because it does fall between the 3 and the 100,000. There may not be anybody else that does that type of work, so it may be exempt, but it is something that we'll just have to double check anyway.
So we can't prove anything yet anyways?
You can approve it contingent upon us checking for
Okay.
that. Keep in mind, this is not a budgeted item, so you are approving an additional expense, and it would have to come back as a budget amendment later in the year.
I think so. I know we haven't established the MDD, but we did move that over into the general fund at this point. Can't we utilize those as the budget amendment for this project?
I'm sorry, say again?
The MDD funds that we have, or the old JCDC funds?
I don't think they're going to qualify, so you still have to use those for some sort of economic development benefit. I'm not sure. I'd have to check, but I just don't know if that would qualify or not.
Doubt it.
I mean, typically you want something that's going to bring in business or some kind of revenue.
I mean, I think honestly.
Parks can be used as well, so I don't know if it would kind of fall within that realm or not. I'd have to check. I haven't heard of cemetery improvements falling in there, but I can check.
I mean, in my opinion, this is a project we're just going to eat money on. I mean, we're just going to have to eat it.
I don't disagree. I think this is something we
I think
owe
it's
our founders, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great project, so we're just going to have to eat it, but I don't want to make a choice.
I'll make a recommendation. Absolutely. Why don't y'all, based off of his stuff, you had 3 companies did 3 completely different projects.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that.
Decide what fence you want, and then get quotes based off of that.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it was bid out to where they bid the products they offer. You're not going to get every fence company to give, when it comes to metal fences, I get wooden fences, but I guess we can try, but it's going to be
You've got 3 different heights of fence, so everybody will do the same height of fence.
yeah, I honestly think that would be a better comparable, and we could make a better educated decision if we said, hey, we want a 5-foot fence, we want the iron in the front, and then we want chain link down each side. And all 3 of them got the same opportunity to bid the same exact project. And that way we can get a comparable price.
The cemetery in Nevada, is there chain link anywhere on that?
No.
Is iron all the way around?
I don't.
They have a lot of built-in options.
Well, I'm not saying that we have to. I'm just saying, like, if that's what we're going to do, let's make sure that whoever we get the bids from have the same.
I'm not a fan of the chain link fence.
Okay.
I
can go either way. So I mean, if it's easy, that's why I was asking what you prefer, because you guys are the ones that are going to maintain it. So if trash and everything's building up against chain link versus the open iron, then
well, you're going to have
you're still going to have the grass to deal with.
The iron fence is probably going to sit off the ground 4 to 6 inches, right? So you're just going to weed eat around each post, and then everything else will be easier.
Quicker to maintain if it's
it'll be quicker to maintain if it's all iron anyways. You agree?
So easier maintenance if it's all iron?
So all iron and then just decorated names in the front?
Yeah, and I mean...
Also, you have to think about this is a powder coating that's going to sun fade, so it's going to incur maintenance over the next, however long it stays. Chain link does not, but I understand the aesthetics is ugly and everything else, so just know that it's powder coated.
So did we not decide to put names of,
I think that was never, that was in this bid. I think the names part was something we needed to talk about for sure,
Yeah.
because I thought that's what we discussed, right?
Yeah, that was the
How
original.
do we do that? Is that something that the city can actually charge for?
So on the names, I asked B&L and they said that's per letter. So you come up with names, however many names y'all want, and they can come back and custom fit them however.
So then we
Literally, they're
need
gonna
to-
build
the panels how they build them. They're gonna build them in 5-6 foot sections. Come back, cut it, put the name in.
so
and
then we
walk
need to
away.
figure out names and stuff first then.
Well, it could be
There's
like bricks
200
and have
people.
people donate who want to donate.
Donate to the fund, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the citizens who want names in there could.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of those citizens that are no longer here to have a say to put their
Well,
name
I
on
mean,
it.
at that point, that's just up to us, right? If we want to say, hey, if there's a founder in there that we know that deserves a name on the fence, and we have the right to do that without a donation. But if people are willing to donate for their family names, I wouldn't tell them no.
Why don't we have staff kind of do a little bit more research on some options for that, and we'll bring that back to you along with maybe some more consistent quotes on styling.
Well, can
Thank
we at
you,
least
Lisa.
say, hey, we want a 5-foot fence or 6-foot fence?
I
or a
think
4-foot
5 foot
fence?
is the right height for it.
I
Yeah,
agree.
5 foot's plenty.
5
That's
foot
not a
fence.
huge
Do we want the
cemetery.
spires or do we want it flat? I personally like the spires for a cemetery fence because it just kind of gives that, and it's an older cemetery, right?
Yeah.
You want iron on the front and chain link the rest of the way, or
No,
you want
iron all the way around. Iron all the way
Iron.
around. But again, we got to figure out if we're being charged names, we still have to figure out how to do that, I guess, later.
We'll look at some options and bring it back to you.
That's going to turn a doable project into a very expensive project.
And
You're right.
Okay, so there's no
Go ahead,
motion
write
for
the
this one,
check.
we're just doing staff direction then, is that correct?
Let's go ahead and write the check.
Okay.
It's a long story.
come on.
Come on, so we're going to recess the rest of it. We're going into executive session.
Do we have to make a motion or just direct or what?
We have to make a motion, we have to recess the regular meeting.
Do we need a motion? Okay.
You just got it?
All right, we're gonna recess the regular scheduled meeting at 8:21 and go into executive session. Nope.
Can you read the section that we're going into, the 551072, discussing purchase,
Oh.
exchange, lease?
Yes. Pursuant to Section 551.071 Government Code, private consultation with the attorney for the City of Josephine, services agreement with Hunt County Mud Number 3. Do I need to add? And attorney consultation regarding Magnolia Public Safety Contract and status. No action will be taken.
I get it. It don't,
All right, we will reconvene our regular scheduled meeting at 8:45. I'm assuming we're not waiting on Rob.
no, we're not. We're good.
All right,
We're
well,
good.
all right, we'll wait.
We don't need to wait. We can do this part.
All right, we're going to do,
Reconvene.
already did reconvene it.
Oh, did you?
Discuss, consider, and act on the items resulted from executive session.
We ready?
No discussion.
I'll make a motion for staff to proceed as instructed for the land for the water tanks.
Second.
Four. Sorry, I didn't speak for you. All right, last item is discuss, that one passed 5-0. Last item is discuss, consider, and act regarding any requests by council members considering items to be placed on the future agenda.
I have one. I would like,
I'll vote no.
I've asked for this a couple of times, and I keep saying it's not, I keep hearing it's not available, and I can't believe that. I would like, so we'll have a starting spot for maybe some more discussion. Some kind of rundown on the Collin County dispatch calls. What, by month, what goes to Magnolia? And what is dispatched in the city limits? And just Collin County dispatch.
I second. Alex seconded.
Or, oh crap, I already stopped mine. Or an explanation why we can't get it from the county.
A good explanation.
It's not.
So we have so do we need to, I guess, does anybody have anything else, I'm assuming?
For the next meeting?
So do we need to put?
We need to vote on that.
Do we need to vote for each one individually?
Yeah.
So, all right, so go ahead and send the vote. We got,
No, we just have to do it manually.
oh, well,
So,
everyone for? Motion carries 5-0. All right, Pam?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I have a question too, to kind of maybe piggyback off of his, but I mean, it's just a question. On the stat sheets for JPD, can we add, I'm not sure what their RMS software is, but neighborhood checks? I see security watches, I see these other things, but I don't see anything specifically when they go and patrol specific neighborhoods that's within their jurisdiction. I don't see that it being logged that they're in a neighborhood specifically. I see building checks and security checks and S-Watch. Some of that stuff I can kind of guess what I think that is. But if a police officer is doing, let's say, a patrol in the Fountain View, I would like an option. Say, hey, once he's cruising, down these streets or he's making his rounds in a specific subdevelopment, that I would like to see that there is a neighborhood check. Does that make sense? Because I'm looking at the stats, and correct, as an officer, when he works his normal shift, I'm not sure if he's assigned to beats or whatever. That's your area. I just want to see that. I see call for services that are generated for building checks and watches and all this other stuff, but I want to see if everybody else agrees, if a police officer goes to Magnolia or goes to Fountain View, I want to see that officer documents that in a call for service type.
Yeah, I think that can be done, because I know, like when Newberry was being built, before it got built out, they had to actually put a street name, but it was for the subdivision that they were looking at. And on the other I reached out to 3 different departments here recently about the same thing. I know Miguel is working on a grid map, and what I've been told from Collin County is when we get the grid map implemented, that we can, like right now, everything that Josephine Police does, the grid is 4,400. So Miguel is working on a grid that's going to be like 4,401, which would be, say, Magnolia. 4,402 would be Waverly. High Meadows would probably have its own grid. I know that we sat down and kind of mapped out what we wanted. But when I reached out to Salina and Princeton, I talked to their crime analysts, and I said, hey, can you go into and just pull a certain location and get the calls on it? And the crime analyst from, I talked to her about the grids and stuff, and she's like, you know, I never even thought of that, where you could do it by subdivisions or whatever. She said, that's something that I want to look into doing.
Sorry to interrupt. Just before we get too deep, I want to make sure, and that's for the next agenda. I just don't want us to get too far off course, too deep into it, because it's not on this agenda.
Okay.
But I think we can address all
correct.
of that.
Yeah, all I'm asking for, and whether I need to make a motion or what's the next process, is that when you're doing your normal patrol, we don't know where they go, and that's fine. But at least if they go into to help kind of be transparent, if they decide, if a citizen wants to know where, you know, hey, where's this officer at? How many times, if we want to pull some historical data, say, hey, did an officer this week at all go into Fountain View? We have no way of proving that if they're not logging that in an RMS or creating a call for service. Because we see it for building checks, and we see it for them checking the community center at midnight or wherever, and that's great. But if someone makes a claim and saying, hey, well, JPD is not in Fountain View at all for this past first whole week, well, yes, they are, because here's all the documentation where they created a call for service. They patrolled at this given point at this given time, because here it is, because then it becomes a public record.
I don't think that's
My question, I got one question,
and that'll eliminate people saying, well, hey,
can
they
help me
didn't
this.
come, and it also holds the officer accountable too, saying, hey, you need to make your rounds, as a shift supervisor saying, hey, did we go into these communities? And he can look and be like, hey, we haven't been in Fountain View for the past week.
Yeah. But
we need to.
My question is this going to be public information? Like, are we going to be putting each officer's stats individually? Because the way it sounded is you wanted it, like, for instance, Officer Smith goes in there and he runs the route. You're going to know how many times Officer Smith went in here. I don't necessarily want Officer Smith's data to be.
All I'm asking
now, if we have as a police department, if we go in there and it's doesn't have any person's name on it, hey, we went in there 16 times or whatever.
That's up to the agency to redact it. I'm sure.
Well, that's all. I was just making
Right,
sure. I don't want it to be
that's
public
however
information.
that wants to be, but it's.
I do agree with
But
you.
why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't you want at least? We got to be able to show that our officers, if somebody makes a claim saying that nobody's made into Fountain View, nobody's patrolling on it,
Because
and we're not documenting it, and we know if we can't document it, it didn't happen.
So then I agree, let's have it on the next agenda where we can debate it.
Well, I mean, the reason I say that is because then you go into personnel discussion and those kind of things that we have to go into
But call for
executive
services
session.
are public record.
I second
that's
your
why I
motion,
asked the
Alex.
question, Alex.
We do have, I mean, to make you maybe feel a little bit more comfortable about it, we do have GPS in all the police vehicles, and the sergeants have access to watch that, and they do watch
Well,
that.
I want it in a call for service. I want it generated because we have to keep historical data on that stuff.
So
I don't want it to be an Excel spreadsheet that a sergeant had and he made it on his own, and let's say he leaves or it gets lost and then we have no proof. I want it to be logged in RMS because that is auditable, and we can and it's a government document, so we can hold people accountable for that as well.
Yeah,
So
I don't think it'd be too hard to do it if that's what y'all want to do. I mean,
So do we need it as an item for next month then to finalize that? So.
But just one last
We'll
thing
find
on
out what's
that, what I was
possible.
talking about when I talked to these other cities real quickly, is I did speak to Roy City, and they have something through Tyler Technology where they can get like a pen and they can draw what they want all the activity for this one area and stuff like that. But the other two cities, Princeton and Salina, have the same problem we have.
Got it. Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to add that.
Second.
Got it. Thank
I'll
you.
second. I second it.
That's
Just
fine.
so you know.
I'm approving.
Everyone for?
All right, I have
Motion
one.
carries 5-0.
I have one for the next meeting as well.
You did- I swear I saw your hand coming down, sir. Oh, well, I apologize. Did he vote for it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, 5-0. All right, stop correcting me. All right.
Okay, one last one for the next agenda is I love capitalism and I want all of us to be able to make money to improve quality of life. I simply wish to have a ordinance considered to disclose any kind of potential conflict of interest for employees, volunteers, and city officials that may end up in situations where private or financial interests may conflict with duties. And it's not to stop anybody from having a side gig or a way to make money. It's simply to disclose it if it's potentially has a risk of steering business or being perceived as a conflict.
Do we not have any
I
ordinance
think
today to
that's
protect
state
that?
law, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are forms that get filled out.
I have a form.
Animal Patrol.
Do we have a form?
We have forms.
I've never seen it. I'll just let you take a look at this and,
Is this a presentation or something we're
Nope.
talking about next time?
yeah, you can simply, take a look at that and see if
So
it
we
works.
can vote whether we want to.
You can vote whether you want it on the agenda or not, but.
I make a, yeah, make a motion.
I mean, state law requires that, so.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't happened. I know of two people who have. I move that we discuss this potential conflict of interest and documentation at the next meeting.
Second.
Not to stop anyone.
All in favor? All opposed?
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anything else? Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?